Jay here from Stretford, Paddock, and this is it. It's the big one. Barcelona versus Manchester United.
Said, this is it. This is the big one. Every preview of the season.
And every preview, I've been right.
Yeah,
They're all big ones, but this is it, Joe.
Yeah, this is
the big one. We've got Joe Smith in it. Of course, we're into the knockout stages of the Europa League. We're going to the new camp, facing Barcelona in the first leg. I mean, in all honesty, it doesn't get much bigger.
First of all, can we stop calling it the new camp? It's been around for ages. It's just the camp.
The camp.
I'm sick of this new camp. Like,
I thought you were going to say, can we start calling it the Camp Nou, which is the official way to say it.
No, it's been there for ages. Stop calling it new. Like, they're like, oh, we've released a new flavour. That was in 2016.
Like New York?
Yeah, just call it York.
That's been around for ages, hasn't it?
Yeah, call it York.
At least 30 years.
Yeah, well, because originally it was New Amsterdam, wasn't it? And then they're like, New York. Okay, fair enough, because it's new. They've changed the name.
Yeah.
It's been New York for fucking 150 years.
Yeah.
Anyway, this is a huge game. But weirdly, it's at the least significant knockout point of the Europa League. It doesn't make any sense, but we're going to need everyone to be fair.
It doesn't, and we shouldn't even be in this game, to be honest with you. We were robbed against Sociedad at home when Martinez had a penalty given against him, which shouldn't have been a penalty. Yeah. But anyway, I digress. One big positive point for this game is the return of the greatest midfielder in the world, Casemiro. He's back, obviously serving a suspension domestically at the minute. He's going to miss the Leicester game at the weekend, but should be back for the Carabao Cup final. But he's back for this one. No-brainer. He's going to start. He's going to play him. How much have we missed him, and how important is he to this team? Yeah,
we've missed him a lot in that first Leeds game in particular. And in the second one as well, they had chances, didn't they, Leeds? I think we don't have anyone who's got that defensive discipline and positional sort of intuition, I would say. It's because it's almost, I think it's instinctive with him, or it's learned, and now it's become instinctive. The only concern I have is he's played against Barcelona a lot of times, and most of the time, Barcelona have won the league and Real Madrid haven't when he's been there.
Yeah.
He's won a few. He's won a handful of leagues, but Barcelona won, except Atletico, all of the rest, and have won more than him in the time he was there. So there's part of me that thinks it's great that he's back, but then there's a slight concern where I think, well, actually, he's used to not doing that well against Barcelona. So is that a worry maybe? But I think it will be invaluable to have his experience of playing in that stadium. He's played there, I would guess, a dozen times or so at the Nou Camp over the last decade. So it will be invaluable. Varane as well for the same reason. I just hope that it's not one of those games where you go, they've sort of passed it around him a bit because they know what to expect. Do you know what I mean? As much as he knows them, they know him. So that's my only concern, but he's our best midfielder, so there's I'm not leading towards saying he shouldn't play or anything. I think he's comfortably our best midfielder. He's got to play. I just think this is one of the few games where I'd go, they might know what to do with him here, because no one in the Premier League knows what to do with him. No one can stop him or stop him stopping them, if you know what I mean. Whereas Barcelona may be the only team on earth where I go, this might not be the sort of huge advantage that it always otherwise is with Casemiro. To be fair to him though, usually when he's played against Barcelona, he's had garbage like Toni Kroos and Luka Modric.
Yeah, so he's
playing
working alongside
with
him. Or to drivel, or pinging the ball up to Karim Benzema.
I know.
Do you know what I mean? What's he expected to do with that?
Ridiculous.
It is. We are going to miss Marcel Sabitzer though, because apparently he's suspended, isn't he?
Yeah.
So it's like one in, one out, which is a bit frustrating because I'd love to see them two together. But yeah, I understand what you're saying there. And Casemiro, such a big player for Manchester United.
Amazing player.
Yeah, and does seem to sort of bring the best out in some of his teammates as well, and allows the likes of Bruno and Fred to get further up the pitch and not have to worry about the defensive duties as much. I know I say the big one before every game, but it doesn't get much bigger than Barcelona versus Manchester United. Probably the two biggest supported clubs in the world in terms of fan base. Yeah. Success, obviously, both clubs have had unmitigated successes domestically and in Europe as well. And there's a bit of a glamour element to this, isn't there? Like United and Barcelona, it's a special game. We've obviously won the big one against them, the 1991 Cup Winners' Cup final. Yeah. So we're sort of, above them there. Yeah. They've won a couple of Champions League finals. No one's bothered.
Who's counting?
Really, you know what I mean? The most important part of the Champions League is the semi-final. And we beat them in that. Yeah. So it's one of those where we have got a lot of history between the two clubs. Big players. It's going to be packed out there at the new camp as well. The camp. I mean, these are the sort of games as a United fan you live for almost. It's like, no disrespect to the little teams, like, you know, playing like Villa and City and teams like that.
Yeah.
But when you're playing someone like Barcelona,
giants of world football,
it's something special.
It is going to be special, and it's one of those games where if we're playing anyone else or any sort of, you know, toss of a coin team in the Europa League, even a big-ish team, let's say you got a Fenerbahce or you know an Ajax or someone like a big established European team, it gives you a sort of 5 out of 10 excitement. Barcelona at any time, even a pre-season game, it's more exciting than every other pre-season game. But this is a 8, 9, for some people 10 out of 10 excitement game, regardless of the fact that it's in the Europa League round of 32 knockout qualifying, whatever it's actually officially called. So yeah, this is a big game and one that's just exciting, isn't it? And I know that it's not Champions League, even though it should be. It still will feel like a big chance to test the players, because we'll get to Barcelona in a few minutes, but they're doing as well as anybody this season. So it's not just, well, 2 fallen giants playing each other in a shit competition. We've been the second best team in England since the World Cup, and they've been the best team in Europe all season. So it's a massive game, and 2 top teams playing really good football. It's going to be huge.
It is going to be huge. I remember as a kid got to see United play Barcelona. I think it was in 93, 94 season, and it was just, Old Trafford was absolutely buzzing, and it was one of those games where, you know, I still think about it a lot because the atmosphere was great to see the players they had. I think they had Koeman, and I think they had Romario as well. Romario was the big star in that team.
Yeah, was Guardiola there as well then at that time?
I'm not sure. I don't remember him. He might have been. I was only a kid. He wasn't one of the players. There's Pep Guardiola. Obviously, he's a very good player, but the main sort of one that stood out for me was Romario. And then obviously a few years later, we played him in the '99 campaign as well in the groups there. So we've had there's been some big games there between the two sides, and hopefully this will be.
Nervous, you know.
I'm not surprised. I am too, bro, because it is one of those where the thing with the game like this is it could potentially, and I rate Erik ten Hag and I rate what he's doing, and I love this team. It could go a bit wrong for you.
Yeah.
If Barcelona get an early goal, you could be in trouble here.
Yeah.
And
we could be 3-0 down after 25 minutes.
That's what I mean, because they're such a good team and it's such a difficult ground to go to. And it's that sort of result. If that happens, and I'm not, don't mean over negative, I'm just putting a worst case scenario in, it can have a knock-on effect on everyone. Yeah. Where people can only start going, oh, you know what, confidence is not so big, maybe we're not where we need to be. Yeah. That sort of thing. Whereas the flip side to that coin is, if Manchester United get a result, even a draw at the Nou Camp, then
I'd kill for a draw.
Yeah, then all of a sudden you're going into the game at Old Trafford thinking, we win this game, we're through. Yeah. And more importantly, we've got a good result against a very, very strong team, arguably the strongest team in Europe right now. And you can't grumble at that. It could be a real confidence booster. So it does feel like everything is on the line, even though it is the first leg. So as long as there's not more than two goals in it, anything can happen, can't it? Let's talk about predicted 11s.
Can I stop you there, Jay?
Yeah, of course you can.
We've both got the same predicted 11.
This isn't the first time this happened this season, is it?
No.
So we'll just
run through it together.
Run through your team then, shall we? Because
Well, actually, no. Switch it to Jay's.
Thank you.
It's slightly different. There you go. We've got David De Gea, Delo, Varane, Shaw, Malacia. The obvious tweak there is Shaw in for Martinez, but he's suspended, and I think he trusts Shaw over anyone else at left centre back when everyone's fit.
100%.
Because, well, obviously when everyone except Martinez is fit, because he played him against City, and that tells me all I need to know.
And I feel like the game against Leeds when he started at left centre back was purely for this. Yeah. I felt like at Ellen Road it was like, listen, you're going to be playing the Nou Camp at left centre back. Let's get you used to it a bit more. The one sort of debatable part of that back five is Diogo Dalot, I would say. Because I agree with you what's going to happen with Shaw, which in turn means Malacia's left back. Varane, it's a no-brainer.
Dalot, he was rested against Leeds.
He was rested against Leeds, He just, obviously, I need you for this one, let's not risk it. Dalot.
Yeah.
Wan-Bissaka has done well since he come back. I know he didn't do great at the Emirates, but that game aside, he's done very well. Dalot, not quite to the levels he was pre-injury, is he?
Yeah. No, he's not, and that's the only one where I'd go, that might go a different way. I mean, obviously, he might play Lindelof there or Maguire there or whatever at left centre-back as well, but that's the only one where I really think, it just depends how he sees the game going. If we're sitting back, doing a lot of one-on-one defending, give it Wan-Bissaka. If we're trying to score and win the game, I would play Dalot. Midfield picks itself. I don't.
No Sabitzer.
There's no possible way that that's not the midfield three.
I just can't imagine it. He's not going to throw Zidane Iqbal in or someone like that, and he's not going to play Sancho in midfield. No. I don't see, like you say, because we're missing Eriksen, Sabitzer, Donny van der Beek, McTominay. you're down to like your only 3 available midfielders.
The
really.
only other possible thing you might see
Go on.
is Weghorst in the 10 and Fernandes on the right, which we saw.
That is a shout because Weghorst in the 10 for that sort of 25 minutes, whatever it was at Ellen Road, was very good indeed. Very good. And he does like to put Bruno Fernandes on the right hand side. I'm not a massive fan of that. I think you lose a little bit from Bruno putting him out on the right hand side. I know he can play there and he does a good job, but I think he's much more effective in midfield. But we'll see. The front 3, you mentioned Weghorst then. I mean, the only other debatable point could be, would he fancy playing Marcus down the middle, maybe bringing in Alejandro Garnacho? But this feels like, especially for a first leg away from home at Barcelona, a safer option. Because I feel like starting an 18-year-old who, I think he's doing very well this season as well. I'm not on that bus of people giving him grief. I don't get it at all. But it is a bit of a test for him, whereas someone who's been around a long time in Weghorst can lead that line. And Sancho and Rashford. Rashford's a complete no-brainer, arguably the best attacker in the world right now. Sancho.
The main thing is, does he think Sancho's ready?
Yeah, because Sancho got 60 minutes at Ellen Road. Do you fancy him for this one? I know you've picked him as you predicted, but would you pick him?
Yeah, because I think he can handle the pressure of this more than Garnacho. Not that I'm saying Garnacho can't, but I don't think it's fair to make him handle that pressure. Sancho's played in much bigger games than this. He's played in Champions League knockout games. He's played in cup finals. I know he's gone through a tough time recently, but Garnacho has never played in any games like this. He's played the FA Youth Cup final, which is not the same thing at all.
No,
obviously,
bigger, innit?
It's bigger.
Yeah.
So it wouldn't be fair to make him drop down.
Exactly. Once you've played against Nottingham Forest in the FA Youth Cup final, playing against garbage like Barcelona at the Nou Camp's nothing to you.
I'd be very surprised if we didn't see 9 of those 11 players starting against Barcelona.
I think like a mixture of suspensions and injuries forces your hand into the case of Martinez and Sabitzer. And like you said there, a lot of these players are first team players anyway. And we've had indications from the manager the way he's going to go in terms of like Luke Shaw at left centre back. Let's talk about Barcelona then, because in the summer, Joseph, me and you stood there. And we laughed almost at Barcelona and the shenanigans that were going on there. When it was like, are we going to get De Jong? Well, they've accepted a bid. They're going to sell him because they need to get rid of him to get him off the wage bill to buy other players. And, what's going on with the likes of Aubameyang and Depay? And are they going to buy Lewandowski after all? Or, can they afford Bernardo Silva who they're chasing? It just seems to be a bit of a mess. And yet, despite struggling in the Champions League, obviously, and end up in the Europa League, they've been absolutely flying in La Liga.
Unbelievable. I think they've conceded 6 less goals this season in the league than the second least conceding team in Europe. Do you know what I mean? I think it's Newcastle, or there might be another team who's conceded 13. Barcelona conceded 7 goals in the league. That is 6 less than the next highest, or the next lowest, which is astonishing. They've conceded 7 goals in 21 games, which is obviously, it doesn't take a mathematician to work out, that's a goal every 3 games, which is amazing. This is like Chelsea 2005 levels of unbelievable.
But
better than that.
How many of those games were against Marcus Rashford?
None.
Well, there you go then.
But yeah, it's an interesting one, isn't it? Because people say, no, they're not the team they used to be. But that team that they used to be is the best football team to ever play football. So yeah, of course they're not quite the team they used to be. You haven't got a prime Iniesta, Xavi, Puyol, Busquets, Messi, Neymar. Of course you're not the team you used to be. No one is that team. No one has ever been that. That's
like saying the 08 team. It's not quite 99, is it?
Okay.
We're only winning the Champions League and the Premier League this season.
Yeah. So obviously they've been helped probably by the fact that they've been knocked out of the Champions League, so they can put everything into the Europa League.
There's a stat there that was reading that says United have lost their last 4 matches against Barcelona.
Shocking.
United last beat Barcelona in 2008. The time before that was 1991. Actually, we beat them in a friendly.
Right.
So that's incorrect, and we all know that friendlies matter most.
Friendlies do matter the most.
Yeah.
I just think it's going to be a horribly difficult game. This whole tie is going to, and the only chance, not the only chance, because I don't mean of winning, but the only chance of us, I think, controlling this tie is if they sort of rotate and phone it.
Just quickly before we move on to score predictions. Lewandowski, 23 goals in 27 appearances, including 6 assists in all competitions. Yeah. I saw a wonderful headline that I didn't click on, to be fair, but it just had, I think it was from the United website, and it said, Dennis Irwin, Lewandowski could cause United problems.
Good.
And I just thought...
Insightful.
I'm not having a dig at Dennis Irwin, I love the guy, but yeah, it's like, you might be right onto something here, Dennis. Yeah. He could, yeah. Are you worried about him? Or is it just Barcelona's such a good team with solid defence that it's unfair almost to single someone out.
Yeah.
'Cause he's probably the one that most people look at and go, Lewandowski's where the goals are coming from.
He's weird, isn't he? Because he's one of those players that he's obviously an elite finisher.
Yeah.
But he's one of those players that you look at him and you go, well, his touch is quite good, and his heading's quite good, and he's not that quick, and he's not a great passer. But like on a sort of top trumps card, he wouldn't be that impressive, and yet he's one of the most prolific goal scorers in the history of football. Like he's not like he's sort of like Harry Kane in terms of attributes, but he can't pass as well as Harry Kane, and yet he's got 400 career goals or something. He's an amazing player. And yeah, he's obviously going to cause us problems in it. But let's, he's more sort of in the same way that Haaland is. If he's scoring goals, it's because other things have gone wrong.
Yeah,
he's probably not going to pick the ball up 30 yards out, dribble between three, and put it in the back of the net like Messi used to. It's Dembele or Gavi or De Jong has cut something apart, and then there's Lewandowski to put it away. So
he's doing what he's brought in to do.
Yeah,
he's doing what it says on the tin, getting
slapping
loads of goals. And unfortunately, that's what a problem Manchester United and Erik ten Hag are going to have to solve. With all that being said, then, my friend, give us your score prediction.
I'm shitting it. I think we're going to lose 2-1.
Okay.
And honestly, not over the moon because that's ridiculous. I would be happy with that. I would take a 2-1. I would take any sort of 1-goal deficit, especially now there's no away goals. I'd take a 1-0. Yeah. A 1-0 away used to be a horrendous result because it meant if they score 1, you've got to score 3 at home. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Whereas now, if we lose 1-0 away, we can win 3-2 at home and go through. So, or after extra time. I'll go to. Actually, no. I'll go. I honestly think it will be 2-0 to Barcelona. That's what I genuinely believe it will be.
Listen, there's no.
They don't concede.
Let's not kid ourselves here. I mean, we've had a bit of a wake up call against Leeds at home. Exactly. Where they scored two goals against us relatively easily. So you're looking at a Barcelona team who are on fire and do have a solid defence and do have a goal scoring in Robert Lewandowski. Yeah. So with all that being said, I'm going to go 1-0 United.
Good, and that counteracts my 2-0 to Barcelona. I'm not ruling us out of the tie at 2-0, by the way. I think we could win 2-0.
Yeah, definitely. Listen, get involved in the chat in the comments. Let us know your score predictions. Don't forget as well to send us your score predictions even. Film yourself like that in landscape. 30 seconds, send it to paddockmatchday@gmail.com. Send it in a 30-second clip and we'll use that in our pre-match build-up. Joe, where can people find you?
Joe Smith 93 on Instagram and Twitter and on the Sloppy Joes podcast as well.
Love the Sloppy Joes podcast. Go and check that out. You know where to find me as well, so make sure you are hitting like, share and subscribe. That's been Joe Smith. I've been Jay Motty. This has been the big one, the Barcelona Europa League preview. Thanks for watching.